try to make this simple so it'll go up on the tape. I only have 10 minutes to put up a video. Um, I wrote a book real quick. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, for a few years now, and I've told this. You know, I told about mind control, murders, people being programmed. I wrote a book, I did write the book. It was unpublished, MD: A License to Kill. I was living in Moonraker Apartments in Marietta, and Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, March the 6th of 78. I mentioned him because he did an endorsement April of 84 about me, and he said I knew who was responsible for his shooting. And I do. The person that shot Mr. Flint was programmed to shoot him and kill his attorney. So now I want to, a lot of the murders I was telling about were done in patterns, and mind control is invisible. So you can't, it's hard to prove, you can't prove it. So none of this evidence that I've told about, that some of them can be proven. With, I would think without a reasonable doubt, that they would not have any problem with it, but they won't introduce it, mind control, into evidence. So James Holmes is not mentally ill. Columbine, Aurora, Colorado, Tucson, Arizona, those are mind control murders. They're not, it has nothing to do with mental illness, and certainly doesn't require the so-called medication that they torture them with, okay? They're not mentally ill. So where are your psychiatrists on all this? Anyway, let me get to I wrote the book, was flown out to Flint during the campaign to replace one of the doctors. The plane went down. Larry McDonald, Congressman, August of 83, the 31st of 83. Plane shot down. He was on the KAL Korean jet that veered into Russian airspace. And he was, anyway, I'm trying to lay it out and get it all on this tape because it's hard to put together, even if you don't try to view both tapes, let me put it that way. Anyway, over the years, they have continued the mind control murders that have been done in patterns. The Virginia Tech next door to me here, April the 16th of 07. So I could go on, but I won't because it's a list of them. You kind of get the gist. But I wasn't going to say anything about the Colorado Springs. I hadn't heard the shooter's name, and I thought, well, evidently the press won't print it. WDBJ7, I'll go ahead and say it a few months ago, they will not touch it. One of their persons must have known where I was. They came up and told me a few years ago that his wife worked for the station, and they were not going to tell it. So they had two people shot on air, and they were shot by a former employee, and he was AKA Williams was his last name. But where, anyway, I'm getting away from what I was going to say. The press won't print any of this. Let me go back to, I'm just going to go back to here. When I was living at Warren House, I'm not going to try to tell what had been done to me. I was working for Fred Simpson, the district attorney in Huntsville, Alabama. That's Madison County. Sheriff Patterson had done a background check as a requirement to work for the district attorney. I lived at Warren House, and Warren House, as in the Warren Commission. That's all I'm going to say. I can't give the background on it. I have in the other videos anyway. But one of the people that lived next door to me at Warren House, a young man, his father came over from Atlanta, and that's where I'd been living, said to me, it's Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will, meaning what was going to happen to me or happening. Okay, I want to go back to, I was telling about the mind control murders, and Murphy, oh my goodness, I'm going to forget his name, Audie, Murphy, the movie star and veteran. Come find out, I was telling about his was a mind control murder. He went down the plane, and I ended up here in 86 in Roanoke, Virginia, living on the Appalachian Trail and starving because I was shut down. Nobody wanted to help me. They didn't want to hear anything about it. So I found out that from some of the hikers that I'd forgotten really where the plane went down over the years. But anyway, it was south of Roanoke there, and there's a monument to Audie Murphy. But it's the word Murphy that I'm showing you. It's synchronicity, and you'd have to see it put up in a background where it fits in. But you got Murphy, then went down the plane, Audie, and then you got the guy at Warren House, me working for the district attorney, Murphy's Law. And I'm going to fast forward to what just happened here, the Colorado Springs shooting. I wasn't going to say anything about it. I didn't hear his name, the shooter's name. He's programmed to shoot. He can't help it. He doesn't even know he's going to do it or why. They ask for a motive. Well, the media's been told. I have told them over the years. And anyway, his name, I found out, was Robert Dear, D-E-A-R, as opposed to D-E-E-R. So I put that up, and I also mentioned James Holmes, who was programmed, the Grand Theater, Rural, Colorado. Well, today I found out that Mr. King, his attorney, and the word King enters into all this. It's not just one word or two. It's a pattern that's formed. But anyway, Mr. King is going to represent Robert Dear, and he represented James Holmes, who was programmed. So whether they know anything about me, I don't know, and what I've told and everything, but they won't I don't know if they won't allow it or what, mind control to enter in as evidence in any of these cases that I'm aware of. Now then, I was putting that up on a video, and I don't think I'm going to put it up. At least I'm kind of rambling, trying to go back and put it together, this part. But in the videos yesterday, I was saying that it was the Colorado Springs, the Robert Dear, was kind of akin to, if you wanted to go back then, to the Eric Rudolph, when the Olympic Park, it was that a bombing or shooting, it's been so long ago, in Atlanta. Quite frankly, I thought that used to be Piedmont Park. But anyway, he also did the abortion clinic in Atlanta. Well, he lived on the Appalachian Trail. It actually came up to where I was living on the Appalachian Trail here in Roanoke. And the point I was going to make here, though, and stop, is he lived in the Carolinas and hid out. They found him. He was programmed. But they found him, and the man's name, the policeman, had just been hired, and he pulls up to a fast food, the policeman does, at 4 o'clock in the morning there in Murphy, North Carolina, and he arrests, after all those years and the people supposedly hunting him, I'm sure they knew where he was because he was programmed. So, but anyway, the policeman, Scott, arrested Eric Rudolph there behind the fast food at the garbage dump, and he's prosecuted and he's in federal prison now. So you've got the Murphy there, and I'm wondering if I already put this up. I said that about Audie Murphy, the plane going down, and come to find out he was south, his monument south of the Appalachian Trail. Now, his plane went down, and I told everybody that was before 80, that was a takedown. The plane was. I didn't know I was going to end up here on the Appalachian Trail in 86, starving and freezing and not too many miles from it. So I'm really just going to go back to one other murder here that's very important with, well, all of them are. Don't want somebody to try to make something out of that when I've done so much to tell it. And, wow, gone through and lived in fear. I still am. But Alexis Murphy, she was 2.5 years ago, I guess in August, she was killed. And by the way, her car was found at the movie theater over there. Her body's never been found.